At 11 p.m. I was standing in the hallway, staring at my wife's locked phone on the kitchen counter, wondering why she'd turned it face down again, when the doorbell rang hard enough to make me jump. It wasn't just the hour, it was the timing. Seconds earlier, she'd gotten a notification that made her tilt the screen away from me, her thumb trembling for a moment before she pressed the power button and walked off, mumbling something about needing air. So when I opened the door and saw a delivery guy holding a bouquet of red roses, fresh, beaded, expensive, I felt something cold run through my chest. He asked, "Are you Sarah's husband?" And I nodded because what else was I supposed to do, even as my stomach twisted itself into a knot. He handed me the flowers and the small cream-colored envelope attached. The card felt heavier than paper should ever feel. When I slid it open and read the words, 6 words, just 6, I felt the world tilt. Last night was perfect. Tonight will be better. No name. No signature. Just the kind of confidence only someone deeply sure of their place in her life would write. I stood there frozen, roses dangling from my hand, petals brushing my wrist. And suddenly everything that had felt off for weeks sharpened into clarity. The late drive she called stress relief, the sudden perfume I didn't recognize, the way she'd been lingering in the bathroom after calls, wiping her eyes but insisting she was fine. She walked back in from the patio right as the delivery guy drove off, and her face went pale when she saw the flowers. Those aren't from you?" she asked, her voice cracking in a way that sounded almost rehearsed. I didn't answer her. I just held out the card. She didn't reach for it at first. She just stared at it like it was a gun pointed at her chest. When she finally took it, her fingers shook so hard the card rustled. She read it, blinked, read it again and whispered, "This isn't what you think." But her voice wasn't steady, and her eyes darted anywhere but at me. That was the moment something inside me began to break. Because I knew her better than anyone, and the one thing she was terrible at was lying. I said, "Then tell me what it is," and my voice came out so calm it scared both of us. She swallowed, breathing fast, and for a moment I actually saw the battle inside her. The urge to confess fighting the urge to protect whatever she had been hiding. She finally whispered, "It's complicated." That word, complicated, hit harder than the card. Complicated meant there was something real, something she didn't want to say. I sat down because my legs felt weak, and she sat too but far from me like the distance itself was an admission. I asked, "Is there someone else?" And she closed her eyes, pressing her palms together as if she was praying for a different reality. When she opened them, they were wet. She didn't nod. She didn't speak. She didn't have to. Silence is an answer. Maybe the clearest one I've ever heard. My jaw clenched, and for a moment all I could do was stare at the flowers lying on the couch like a crime scene. Then she started talking all at once, messy, breathless, remorseful in a way that made it hurt more, not less. I didn't mean for anything to happen. I was lonely. We were distant. You were busy. I felt invisible. He just listened, that's all. At first. God. That phrase lodged in my throat like glass. She kept going, words spilling out like she'd been holding them back for months. It wasn't supposed to turn into anything physical. I swear. But I didn't stop it when I should have. And then stopping felt harder than continuing. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." I didn't yell. I wanted to. I wanted to break something, anything, everything. But instead, I felt this strange numbness settle over me. Like my body had decided the only way to survive the moment was to shut down all sensation. I asked her how long. She whispered, "A month." I asked who. She hesitated too long, then said he was someone from work, someone she'd always mentioned casually, lightly, harmlessly. Someone I had shaken hands with once at a company barbecue. I felt a hot sting of humiliation crawl up my neck. "What was last night?" I asked. And she broke. Completely. She covered her face, shoulders shaking, and sobbed. "I ended it yesterday. That night was supposed to be the last time. I told him it couldn't continue. I told him I loved you. I didn't know he would send something. I didn't know he'd make it worse. Worse. As if the existence of the affair wasn't already crushing. As if the betrayal needed an encore. I stood up because I couldn't sit anymore. The room felt too small, the air too tight. I walked around the living room in circles, rubbing the back of my neck, trying to calm the storm rising inside me. I asked her, "Did you ever think about me? About us? About what this would do to me?" She whispered, "Every day." And the worst part is I believed her. That's what made it so devastating. She wasn't cold. She wasn't indifferent. She was human, flawed, hurting, and still wrong in every way that mattered. I slept in the guest room that night. Or tried to. Mostly I stared at the ceiling, replaying every moment from the last year, searching for the exact second I lost her. The flowers sat in the living room until morning, wilted at the edges, but still bright enough to mock me. In the days that followed, she tried. She really tried. She apologized until her voice was raw. She wrote me letters. She offered to quit her job. She begged for therapy, for time, for a chance to rebuild. And maybe once months ago I would have fought for us. But something inside me had cracked in a way that couldn't be undone. Whenever I looked at her, I saw that card. Those 6 words. The careless confidence of someone who thought they owned a part of her I never even realized I'd neglected. The truth was simple. I loved her. I always had. But love isn't armor. It doesn't protect you from the truth. It doesn't stop someone from drifting away. It doesn't make betrayal hurt less. It just makes the wound deeper. We separated quietly, without screaming or blame. Just 2 people standing in the ruins of something they both thought would last. Sometimes the softest endings hurt the most. I still think about the flowers sometimes, how they arrived at the exact moment I was starting to wonder if I was imagining the distance between us. Maybe life knew I needed the truth delivered to my door, wrapped neatly in red petals and heartbreak. And if there's one thing I learned, it's this: the moments that break you are often the ones that finally set you free.